Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, I'm KingNido, and today it is the Pastoria Hydros trying to redeem themselves as last season when they went up against the Levincia Wonders. The Wonders were able to clean sweep the water decks, but the Hydros are on their redemption after an absolute washout in the Champions game. They have started this season off strong and they want to continue that here today, whereas for the Wonders, they are fully charged and ready to go as they want to make a move up the leaderboard. So with that said, let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win this matchup. Will it be the water decks? Will it be the lightning decks? Let's go!
3, 2, 1, go!
And after looking through their starting hands, it is the Wonders with their Fuego Ironworks deck putting their Shinx into the active spot. For the Hydros, they're going with the Finneon from this Pacific Rim deck with the Meryl on the bench, and they do have their evolutions in hand, plus that giant cape as well. But it is the Wonders who did flip heads, and they do have that type advantage as they will be going first, and they've pulled the Electabuzz, and they've already got the Electivire in hand. They've got a Pokeball and the Volkner who goes well with the Electivire and the Luxray. This Pokeball produces the second Electabuzz, and they've also got that Luxio in hand. They are going to put one of these Electabuzz now onto the bench, and they have the option of going with the second one, but they just send it over to the Hydros instead, who pull that Origin Form Palkia that is the strongest card for this Pacific Rim deck, immediately going onto the bench. But it is the Finneon getting its first energy, as it can go for this Elegant Swim that will do 10 damage, but with that coin flip as well, it can also prevent damage from the opposing Pokemon in the next turn. But unfortunately they get the tails instead of the heads that was required. That is very similar of the hide that this Shinx does, as we see the second Shinx being pulled as well, but that hide doesn't do any damage, unfortunately, for the Wonders, for them to capitalize on that weakness that the Hydros have here against the Wonders. And the Wonders are thinking about whether or not they want to put that Luxio onto that Shinx, or if they do just want to go for the hide right now. They do get the first energy onto the Shinx, and they are going to go with the Luxio. Won't be able to go on the offensive with this Electric Claws right now, due to it being a 2 energy requirement for this card. As that second Shinx is put onto the bench, the Electivire is online though for the Wonders. It does also require 2 energy, as the second Meryl is now pulled for the Hydros, and that Waterfall from the Lumineon, who is now online, only requires that 1 water energy. It would have been able to take that Shinx off the board, so it was a fantastic play to evolve that Shinx into the Luxio for the Wonders, as we see the Azumarill coming online as well. And here it is, the Waterfall, 50 damage onto the Luxio, as now the Wonders pull their second Electivire, so undoubtedly they are going to move that in-hand Electabuzz onto the bench. But first they're going to place down an energy, and they are looking at this Luxio, who they are going to get that second energy on, which is a good play because they do have that Volkner. If they lose the Luxio, it can get 2 lightning energies from the discard pile and move them onto the active Electivire or Luxray, as it is the Tentacle pulled for the Hydros, the Giant Cape onto the Lumineon, who can finish off this Luxio, but it's the first energy onto that Palkia. The Waterfall taking the Luxio off the board, and as we said earlier, the Hydros were clean swept last season by the Levincia Wonders. As always, this is a best of 3 matchup, and that third game still counts toward the leaderboard here. So the Hydros trying to redeem that here as the Electabuzz into the active spot instead of the Electivire. Now the Wonders can go for the charge, or they can play this Volkner. They've just pulled the Luxray as well, unfortunately 1 turn too short for that Luxio. But that second Electivire is online, and they are going to play that Volkner now. So there's already 3 energy. They need 1 more energy onto this Electivire, as it's only going to do 40 damage at the moment with this exciting voltage. But with that weakness, it's enough to take that Lumineon off the board, leveling the playing field at 1 point each. Does require 3 points to win a game, as the Azumarill is put into the active spot. It also does a Waterfall, but it requires 2 energy to do 60 damage, as the Tentacle has been pulled for the Hydro, so they are going to put that Tentacle onto the bench, the second energy onto the Azumarill, which will do 60 damage. Electivire 120 health, so it's about to be halved right now, but that means Electivire is free to get a 4th energy, as the Celestic Town Elder has been pulled for the Wonders. They could get a basic Pokemon, a random basic Pokemon. It's only the Shinx though in that discard pile, and they are thinking of playing that supporter, but instead they're just going for this exciting voltage, 140 damage, thanks to that weakness of the Azumarill, and the Wonders are in full control right now with this Fuego Ironworks deck. And the Hydros are limited here on what they can do. They put the Tentacle into the active spot. They know that that Palkia would not have enough to be able to go on the offensive. They play the Pokeball they've just pulled, hoping for something. They get the second Tentacle. But there is, again, not much. They put the Tentacle online. It only requires 1 energy for this Wave Splash to do 40 damage. They're just trying to get some damage counted towards that leaderboard because they will not be able to get this Electivire off the table, which means this Electivire is free to go on the offensive, and another 140 damage, and the Wonders with the exciting voltage to win game 1 in this best of 3 series, trying to maintain that dominance that they have over the Pastoria Hydros, and they want to try and get a clean sweep. If they win this second game, they know they'll get the 3 points for the win, but they want that clean sweep. They want to maintain an undefeated record against the Pastoria Hydros as they have flipped heads. They're going first with this fully charged deck, and they've got the Voltorb, both versions, plus the Magnemite in hand, and they've got the Magnezone. There's no Magneton at the moment, as they are going to put the Lightning Ball Voltorb into the active spot with the Magnemite on the bench. And it is going to be this Sea Guardians deck for the Pastoria Hydros with the Manaphy going into the active spot, and they do have the Fion and the Piplup. They are going to put both of them onto the bench. They've got that second Manaphy as well from the promo set A that could be drafted from, that is in hand, and they've got the Professor's Research. But here we go, game 2 with the Wonders once again going first and continuing to have this type advantage. And they have pulled that Rocky Helmet, which immediately they are going to put onto the Voltorb. Now, Manaphy can't do damage to the Voltorb. It can generate, though, energy for the benched Pokemon, so it's fortunate that there are 2 on the bench of the Hydros as they have pulled the Giant Cape. They play the Professor's Research. There's the Empoleon as well with the Pokeball being pulled. They immediately play that Pokeball to get a second Fion, who I may have called Finion earlier, in hand, as that second Fion is going to go onto the bench as well, and already the Hydros have a fully stacked bench. This Manaphy can choose where those 2 water energies will go, but it can only go to 1 each. So as they've got the 2 Fions, they're going with one of the Piplup though, as that Empoleon that is in hand requires 3 energy for 80 damage, but it can also target a benched Pokemon with that Aqua Jet. As the second Magnemite pulled for the Wonders, they get a first energy onto the Voltorb, and this Lightning Ball, 10 damage with the additional 20, and already Manaphy is down to 20 health remaining, but the Hydros pull the Irida. Any Pokemon on the side of the Hydros that has a water energy on it and has taken damage will have 40 health restored. The Piplup gets its second energy, and they're going to put the Giant Cape onto the Manaphy. They want to try and buy some time in the setup of this match, hoping to get that Prinplup undoubtedly as the Oceanic Gift, once again generating more energy here. And once again they go with the Piplup, they go with the other Fion. Now Fion only requires 2 energy for that Water Pulse, but it can also put the opposing Pokemon to sleep, as the Electrode has been pulled for the Wonders with this rolling attack doing 50 damage, 1 energy, and that energy is already on the Electrode, so they get an energy onto that benched Magnemite. And they put the second Voltorb on the bench as well, but they're still waiting for that Magneton. The rolling attack though from Electrode takes Manaphy off the board, and the Wonders have taken point 1. And the Hydra is now opting to go with one of the 2 Fion with this Water Pulse. It does 40 damage as they pull the second Empoleon. Still no Prinplup in sight, but this 40 damage will halve the health of the Electrode, but it's got that Rocky Helmet, so it will do 20 damage recoil, but it also puts the Electrode to sleep. Now the Wonders need Electrode to wake up, otherwise it is an easy target for this Fion, and they get the Tails. Electrode is going to remain asleep. They pull the XP, that is irrelevant. They already have one in hand, and even that's irrelevant. They will not be able to retreat this Electrode. It is stuck in the active spot. They get an energy onto the Voltorb. They're having a look at the Electrode, hoping for a miracle that suddenly that retreat will work, but they cannot do it. They go for another coin flip. They get the heads. Electrode is going to wake up, but that does not matter because Fion is free to take out Electrode, but they've also just pulled the Prinplup. Prinplup is now onto that Piplup for the Hydros. They get a second energy onto that benched Fion. This is going great for the Hydros in game 2 because they're about to take this Electrode off the board, and shortly they're going to have the Empoleon online as they still have an Irida in hand. Now this active Fearing is a very easy target for whoever comes online. There's only 20 health remaining for it, so both Magnemite and Voltorb can take it off the board, and they opt in to go with the Voltorb here. Now with this big explosion, it does 30 damage, but it will also do 10 damage to itself. But they've pulled the Iono and they're immediately going to play it. Both teams will have to shuffle their hands into their decks, getting a new amount of cards for the amount they already had. They both had for the 2 Magnezones, the Professor's Research and the X-Speed for the Wonders, but the Empoleons are back in hand for the Hydros. They get the Floatzel as well, but it was the Empoleons that they needed to get again, or at least one of them, as the big explosion takes Fion off the board, and the Wonders only need one more point to ensure that they win this series. However, the Hydros are free to set up this Empoleon. They no longer have the Irida, but they have a Buizel that they have just pulled. They are immediately going to put that onto the bench, but it's the Empoleon coming online with this Aqua Jet. Again, 80 damage on to this Voltorb. It does 30 damage to the Magnemite as well. This is fantastic for the Hydros. They've just taken their second point. They're in full control, and the Wonders still do not have a Magneton in hand, and I do not think it will be able to outlast this Empoleon. It's the Rotom being pulled for the Levincia Wonders. It's the Professor's Research that they're going to play, though. They need the Magneton, and they get it with this pull. It does have its own roll-in attack, 50 damage for 2 energy. But the problem is it only has 50 health remaining. They can bring that Rotom online. The Wonders are looking at their hand. They still haven't put their energy out either. They know what is about to happen. They get the 3rd energy onto the Magneton. This Lightning Ball doing 70 damage thanks to that weakness, but now Empoleon, and it was smart for the Wonders to not put a Pokemon on the bench to take that extra damage that again counts toward the leaderboard. But here it is, they're not worried about the energy. That Aqua Jet wiping Magneton off the board, and the Hydros have taken this to a game 3. They have just proven they can take down a deck of the Levincia Wonders. Here we go, our game 3 decider, and this time it's going to be the Hydros going first with their Ice Peak Arena deck, which means they're not going to have to worry about that weakness to this Volt Tackle deck of the Levincia Wonders. They've got those Regice and the Swinub in hand. They've got an Irida already, plus that Pokeball, and they are going to put the Regice into the active spot with the Swinub onto the bench. The Wonders have 2 Electrics. They've got 1 Manectric in hand, plus that Pawmot. They put the 2 Electrics out onto the board though. They've got a Rocky Helmet ready to go, but it is the Hydros, as we said, going first, and they immediately pull the Frostlass, but no Snorunt. However, with this Pokeball, they may get the Snorunt out of the deck, and that is what they get as well. The Hydros looking for the upset here today. They had a strong win in round 1, and they want a second win, as the Giant Cape now being pulled for the Levincia Wonders. They've got both their Pokemon tools out of this deck. They get a first energy onto the Electric, and they put the Rocky Helmet onto it as well. And again, they cannot capitalize on the weakness, as the Zap Kick onto this Regice, 20 damage. Regice though, 110 health, and it's got that Crystal Body, so it doesn't have to worry about the added effects of the opposing Pokemon, as they pull the Professor's Research and immediately play it, getting out the Mamoswine and the Frostlass. Now they can get a Frostlass online, but they cannot get that Mamoswine online yet, as they don't have the Piloswine. Sending it back over to the Wonders, who pull their second Manectric, immediately putting it online. Now with this Flash, it only requires 1 energy, so these 2 Manectrics are good to go, both having a single energy each, and that benched Manectric gets the Giant Cape to get that additional 20 health. But that Flash as well during the next turn, that defending Pokemon may not be able to do damage, but Regice is not concerned with that. It does prevent the effects from that Flash of Manectric, so it's fantastic for the Hydros to have that online, as they pull their second Swinub and they play the Irida to restore the 40 health that was just lost to the Flash. And if they're thinking they may want to put that second Regice onto the bench to prevent any further effects of the Flash, as that Rocky Helmet does 20 recoil damage to the Regice, as the Pawmo being pulled for the Levincia Wonders. They've got the Pawmot, they've got the Pawmo, they still need that Pawmi, as they are going to retreat that active Manectric. They want to keep it alive, they don't want to drop any points, and with this newly restored Manectric, 40 damage, this Regice has 30 health remaining, but that Flash, those added effects still not coming into play. the Hydros pulling their Frost Rotom. They're looking at the Frostlass with that Blizzard. It can do additional damage to the benched Pokemon, but here it is, that second Regice coming onto the bench. And it gets its first of 2 required energy, this Frost Smash onto the Manectric, and they don't have to worry about that Rocky Helmet recoil damage, as it is the Palmy finally being pulled for the Levincia Wonders, immediately going onto the bench as well. This Manectric is free though to take out the Regice, only 30 health remaining, and the Wonders take 0.1 once again here in game 3. 2 more and they will take this series, as the Hydros are going to put that second Regice. They don't want to contend with the added effects of the Flash, and it is the Pilus one finally being pulled for the Hydros, but it is the second energy going on to the Regice. And now we see that Pilus one coming online for the Hydros, but it's 50 damage. This Manectric will be able to hang on with 10 health remaining thanks to that giant cape, as now it's the Pikachu being pulled for the Levincia Wonders as well. And here comes the Pawmo. It does require 2 energy to go on the offensive, but fortunately that Pawmo doesn't require any additional energy as it now gets its second. They are going to retreat that Manectric, bringing the Pawmo into the active spot. Now it can also do 40 damage. It does have more health remaining than the 2 Manectrics. They don't want to drop a single point as they go for this punch into the Regice. 40 damage. They're not worried about trying to go for the added effects. They know it won't work. The Hydros finally get their own Rocky Helmet that they did need to turn earlier with that Manectric. And here's the Rocky Helmet onto the Regice as well. And the Hydra is thinking about how they want to approach this. Do they potentially want to use those added effects that the Frostlass brings, or do they want to get this Mammoth one online? And it looks like they're thinking about going with the Mammoth one, which could be a risky play. It does require 4 energy, and I'm not sure that they have enough time. They're really uncertain of where to put this energy, and they've finally gone with the Pilus one. This could be a mistake on the part of the Hydra, as the Frost Smash though into that Pawmo, bringing it down to 40 health remaining. And it is the Raichu being pulled for the Wonders. They are pulling the exact Pokemon they needed all the right times, as now it is going to be that Pawmo coming online, the Pikachu going into that last slot on the bench, and with this Electric Punch, 70 damage to take the Regice off the board. But also Pawmo has its own built-in Rocky Helmet, because its ability, that counter attack, when it takes damage from the opposing Pokemon, it returns 20 damage, as the Wonders have a 2-point lead here in game 3. They only need 1 more to win the series. The Hydros really need to think about how best to approach this. And they put the Pilus one in the active spot, moving that second, getting that second Pilus one, out of the deck. And here comes the Pilus one with its second energy. It still requires 1 more. It's only got 110 health, and there's not much they can do, so they send it back over to the Levincia Wonders, who get their Raichu onto the bench. And it gets its second energy here as well, but the Electric Punch, another 70 damage from this Pawmo onto the Pilus one, 40 health remaining. They need to get the Mammoth one online. There's not much they can do about that right now. There's a third energy onto this Pilus one that would allow it to do 60 damage to the Pawmo, but it would get that 20 recoil damage. Mammoth one though has 90 health remaining. It can outlast an attack from this Pawmo. And now the Wonders, with their options of how they want to approach this, they are in a firm and strong position right now, as they're just going to go for the Electric Punch. This Mammoth one will have 20 health remaining. The Mammoth one can take out the Pawmo, but it will also be taken out in the process. However, they've got the giant cape. However, they are hesitating, because they know that Pilus one will be taken out in the following turn regardless of what happens. Are they about to take themselves out of this match to reduce taking additional damage from the Wonders? They know this is a no-win situation. They may want to just minimize the damage. We've never seen this before in the PokeType League TCG. The Hydros know they're about to lose this game. They can go with this Frosty Flattening, get 120 damage of their own, take the 20 recoil. They will lose a point and lose the game, but they won't take extra damage. This could be crucial come end of season. They are about to finish this game on their own terms with this Frosty Flattening. They take out the Pawmo. That counter attack does the 20 damage. to the Mammoths when they both fall off the board at the same time. The Hydros get a single point, but the Wonders get the final point, and they do win this under the Hydros' own decision, which is massive, as the Hydros are in now 3rd place, and next round they will be going up against the Kitakami Rogues, whereas the Wonders, they move up to 6th, but will be going up against the Cinnabar Blazers. But until then, Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought the best card was, and if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, always remember, send thanks, and I will see you when you see me.